Hey, what's up guys? Brad from Glut Hill Customs. So I'm in the middle of working on a build for a client and I run into an issue that I see posted literally every day, right? Those of us that are familiar with building on this P80 platform, we all kind of already expect it to happen, and that is fitment issues with our rails. And literally every day on all these groups that we're all in, it says, oh, is this my slide stick, and how come, what can I do? Has anybody ever ran into this? The answer is yes, right? We all know it does it. I know a lot of you guys that are running into the problems are new. Sometimes it don't, which is great, but probably 75+% of the time we run into a fitment issue. So I figured that I would go ahead and kind of do a quick breakdown of what it is that I do. Everybody does it a little different, but how I go about fixing the issue. So this is a build that I'm doing. It's Boba Fett, Mandalorian. It's all roughed in, right? Nothing crazy yet. All of this is hand carved though, so I guess that is pretty cool, but it's getting ready to go in for Cerakote. I've worked on the undercuts and all that fun stuff, but my rails were a little too wide. I've got a slide around here somewhere. Here it is. And I don't know if you'll be able to see or not. So my rails in that guide channel there were catching, and that Cerakote gets in there, and a lot of times the tolerances in these P80s just do not quite fit, right? So until it gets broke in and that Cerakote is rubbed off of those guide channels, you kind of have issues with it. So the best thing to do is to take and you polish your rails, which I do every single time. I always polish. But the trick is right here on these little tabs that actually fit in those guide rods. A lot of people just polish the top. They go, oh, I'm good, and it still sticks. No, that's not the case, okay? You're too wide here. So your front locking block needs to be ground down, and that tab, if I can get it, that tab needs to be ground down, and it doesn't take a lot. So I generally got my fancy micrometer, but I generally use just a diamond bit. You can do it in a Dremel. A lot of guys sit and do it by hand. I build so many of these things, this is just the fastest way for me to do it. But I take, and with it installed, okay, I'll run my diamond bit a few passes each way. And you want to make sure you keep it level. You can see the scratches because it tears it up, and you can see it. You don't want to hold it. You don't want to start and stop in the same spot. You want to go all the way through it, back and forth, because it will, sorry, my land sharks are over there fighting. It will create a big divot, which is hard to take care of. But once I've gone a few passes over it, then I'll take, let me see, I got one sitting here somewhere. So I'll take just a sanding drum. This one's all beat up, but this is 400 grit, which is usually what I go with. But I'll take my 400 grit sanding drum and I'll run it over in my Dremel. I'll run it over everything, and that really polishes up, smooths it out, gets rid of all of the imperfections that's left from that diamond burr. And I don't know if you can really tell, but it does quite a good job at polishing them. That's literally just 2 steps. That's all it is, 2 steps. Grind it down, smooth it out. You got to make sure it's nice and smooth though. And I do the same to the back rails. If I run into issues, if I'm going to do the front, I will take a little bit off the back as well, just because. Okay. Another big thing that is very key is inside of your channel, and get into the light. Okay, so in that channel, you have to be flush with your locking blocks all the way around, right? It shows you where to cut it out. A lot of times guys are leaving a lot of excess material right here on this little front piece. They're leaving excess material that pokes out past that rail, and that will cause issues. That'll bind up on your guide rod, on your spring, and it just gives you a headache, right? So 2 biggest factors is your channel which needs to be smooth and flush. I even take and flush those points out, and just to make it aesthetically pleasing, I just match this groove that's right here with it all the way through. Okay, but you've got to be flush, smooth, clean, and then if you still are having issues, take and sand down your rails just a little bit. Now, I'm gonna put this on here, and this is no oil or nothing, okay? See that? Nice and smooth. Once you get it all lined up and I get a little bit of oil in there, that's gonna be just perfect. So I no longer have that drag. Everything is good, and I even can look and see just to make sure that I still have some tolerance, right? You don't want to take too much off to where everything's loose, okay? You want it to be just barely big enough to fit in there, but it's gonna move freely, and that is the way. You notice the reference there, okay? That's how it needs to be. I hope it helps. I know it's a short video, but hopefully it'll help some of you guys, because I know, like I said, literally every day we're having these issues in these groups, and I figured I'm dealing with it like usual, so why not just show you guys, right? Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Gledhill Customs. We do some pretty cool stuff, you know, not to toot my own horn, but I kind of enjoy building these things. Marine Gun Builder has been great. These groups are great. Everything about this building community is just phenomenal. So I figured I'd try and do my part, you know, and help out. I do like to answer questions. There's some things that I run into that I'm not 100% sure on, right? Even as a gunsmith, I still see things daily that I'm not sure, but I can figure it out. So, you know, if you guys have any questions, shoot a message to me, reach out. I'm pretty quick at answering them generally, you know, so I try to help out as much as possible. So I guess, you know, if you need anything, let me know. Thanks, guys.